Today's unsettling employment rates have discouraged many in our region from even trying to find work. But there is also a group of people who never imagined they would be looking for a job who are. Correspondent Bridget Berry-Caswell reports.
Retirement used to be a clear and attractive milepost in the life of the American worker. But changing values, a rough economy, and some surprising demographic data are transforming the way both workers and employers regard the so-called golden years.
We really need to focus there in terms of getting more assignments, maybe run some newspaper ads, broaden our networking.
At a point when Ed Chase's longevity as an IBM engineer qualified him for early retirement, his personality rebelled at the thought.
Retirement just wasn't for me. I'm healthy, I'm high energy, I want to contribute, I want to continue to give. I would be totally bored if I ended up, sitting on a couch, watching soaps or whatever you do when you retire.
A sudden 2-month employment hiatus quickly reminded Dave Swainbank of the ongoing value of a regular paycheck.
The idea of retirement isn't necessarily based on age. It's more based on income. And people are having to work longer in their lifetime. They're having to work many more years just to be able to afford lifestyle. Takes quite a bit more money than what it used to.
Hi. Hi. Let me show you how this works. Okay. These are the flyways that the birds take between their southern winter habitats and their northern breeding grounds.
Despite an enticing excuse to stop working due to chronic illness, Mike Hansen has not only returned to work, but is now helping his peers remodel their professional lives. What's happening to transform the traditional model of aging out of the workplace?
Today's employment environment has changed. It's rare that you can find an employer that you could go to work for and expect to retire from, working there for 30 years. There's less of that happening. That leaves people 55 and older out in the workforce. Now they have to retool.
Helping people reinvent their work lives is nothing new. In fact, one Vermont organization has been a recognized leader in community-based job training and employment development for 25 years.
And what we've seen in recent years is that the skills that people need as they age to help them either remain in the workforce or to get back into the workforce has to do with learning how to use the skills they have and transfer them into the jobs that exist in today's labor market.
With funding from the U.S. Department of Labor, Vermont Associates for Training and Development is building a statewide network of resource centers to help older Vermonters return to the workforce or to jumpstart a new career. Besides providing guidance on formal training and opportunities in institutional education, Vermont Associates offers on-the-job experience in the form of targeted internships with a number of public and nonprofit organizations.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. Welcome to the Missisquoi National Wildlife Refuge.
A former accounting, auction, and tourist information professional, Dave Swainbank recently opened the latest chapter of his career history with an internship at a nearby nature center.
I got really sick, and after a point of 60 days, the economic feasibility of not working ended.
So Swainbank enrolled in Vermont Associates' Senior Community Service Program, which puts eligible candidates into paying internships where they're able to gain new work experiences.
This internship gives the opportunity for me to look at different areas I hadn't thought about before and to provide customer service.
Dave, this is a new program we have here.
In the final week of his own community internship at the same wildlife refuge is former building contractor Mike Hansen. Like his successor, he too experienced a forced break in employment.
It became obvious that I wanted to get back into the workforce, but that it wasn't going to be construction. I already had some computer skills, and so they used me to help develop these spreadsheets that they could use year after year.
How you doing, Mike?
Good. I'm just looking at the data from 2009 here.
And this is 2009 data? Mike had expressed an interest in doing some computer work, and we said, well, sure, we'll try to help him out that way too and see if we can expand and explore a little bit more of what we may be able to provide Mike with, and in turn, get a return on that.
Hansen has emerged from his temporary retirement with an expanded skill set and new lease on life. The payoff has been a permanent job helping other mature workers access training and employment services.
Well, I said I was going to retire early and go to work later, and I've done exactly that.
The challenge for us here in Vermont is the aging of our workforce. We have the second oldest workforce in the country. Maine has the distinction of the first. So the challenge really for Vermont employers is going to be, where does my future workforce come from? I mean, prior to the recession, we had employers saying, I can't find skilled people, I can't find people. It's frustrating to me that we're even hearing that from employers now.
These may well be the rising new faces of northern New England's workforce, a growing number of accomplished mature professionals who are applying their skills in entirely different contexts.
And the other thing you can glean from this chart is I've color-coded the bars. Very little job activity going on in that place. I started getting a little weary of all the stress associated with corporate life, and I saw this ad in the paper for Vermont Associates. My last interviews prior to coming up here 2 years ago was in 1967. It had been 40 years since I had interviewed for a job.
When we interviewed Ed, we saw that he had analytical skills, which would be very helpful for us. So we hired Ed and redesigned many of our databases. We also were able to offer him some of the things he wanted from the environment of his new job. He wanted workplace flexibility. He works a 4-day work week. He can take long weekends when he wants to be with the grandkids, and it's been a perfect match in terms of his needs and the employer's needs.
I think there's a lot of people my age and even older than I am that really want to continue working in the workforce, but in a lower stress environment, maybe a part-time environment, to still contribute and feel fulfilled.
Many mature workers are healthy, living longer than ever, and anxious to keep on contributing not only to their own pocketbook, but to society. Their spirit and experience only enrich the American workplace. For Making Sense New England, I'm Bridget Barry Caswell.
If you're considering working into your 60s, 70s, and even beyond, you'll need to weigh a number of factors, including your health, present skills, and personal goals. Our website contains information on working into maturity and organizations that can help make it happen. Visit the resources page at makingsensene.org.